next we have Ira Winterman.
Duncan, what do you take into consideration when it comes into free agency? This is sort of your first foray in there. It's a little unusual. It's restricted. There could be a match by the team. I don't want dollar figures. I'm just curious, when you sort of put your list together, whether it's a fit, whether it's winning, whether it's a place maybe you want to live, whether it's earnings potential, taking care of family, things like that. Obviously, that's something so big. I assume you've given it some thought. So roughly, what's the outline of your thought process?
Yeah, I mean, of course, giving it some thought. Truthfully, like I haven't yet transitioned into, that being the priority, which obviously, it likely will be this summer, as long as, of course, developing and improving, which is probably the main priority, truthfully. But yeah, at this point, I mean, I'm similarly, not to just kind of recycle answers, but it's similar to what I had just said about USA basketball. I'm just trying to get all the information possible so I can make, the best decision possible. In terms of the different factors that contribute, I mean, all of them do to some extent. First and foremost, a fit, a place where I can really feel comfortable. Winning is obviously, a priority for me as well. And then, of course, it's also a business, and there's an opportunity to make money to take care of people that I love the most. So that's also a priority as well. So any place that can offer all of those is a destination that I would be excited about. Obviously, I've had an incredible experience here. And love this organization for many different reasons. So we'll see. For the most part, like I said, I haven't really shifted my focus towards that just yet. But the next weeks, months will be mostly just about gathering information and trying to make the best decision possible.
What were your thoughts last summer when it was sort of shooters gone wild, from Joe Harris to Davis Bertans to basically, if you can shoot the ball, you get a big check handed to you? What was your thoughts sort of just watching how that played out, knowing that you were up next a year later?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, really happy for those guys. And if anything, it kind of just indicated that there was a market for that skill set. So the focus really shifted to, how can I really continue to showcase my abilities, this year, show that I'm capable, help this team win, and everything else from there will just kind of fall into place.
Thank you.
Yep.
Up next, we go to Cooper Moorhead.
Duncan, your jump to the head of the line as far as the league shooters has been so fast over the past 2 years that we've had a lot of opportunity to talk about the way teams have adjusted to you and different defensive schemes and all that. Was the Milwaukee series more of the same as far as what that progression has been like, or is there any greater takeaway from that series for you personally as far as what you want to work on?
There's definitely takeaways from that series in terms of personally what I want to work on. I mean, I think if anything, it was, it was a good example of the areas in which I feel like I can improve and will improve. My strength and kind of my body being a main emphasis. Obviously, the game plan of theirs was to be super physical and just kind of take me out of rhythm. So that's going to be a huge emphasis going forward. I've made improvements since I've been in the NBA, but there's still plenty of improvements to be made in that regard. But it's hard looking back, just frustration, and obviously this series obviously didn't go the way any of us expected or hoped. But at the same time, try to keep perspective and try to learn and take away the value from it because I think there is some there.
Yeah, obviously you got back to there was a slump in the middle of the season, but you got back to 40% over X amount of attempts per game on volume. But by and large, the team's offense never really seemed to come together as far as finding rhythm and footing, other than the last month when shots were falling. Is there any reason, looking back, why you can kind of put your finger on why that happened?
I think continuity is a big part of that. When you're developing an offensive rapport and flow, I think continuity is really important. And there's no excuses, obviously, but when you try to look at maybe potential answers as to why, I think that's definitely a a reason that shouldn't be overlooked. Guys in and out of the lineup, stuff changing on a night-to-night basis, personnel changes, just like a combination of all those things, I think contributed. We also had stretches where I'll just speak to myself personally, like the ball just didn't go in the way you wanted to. And that's going to happen. Try not to get too caught up in that, but like you said, hopefully the hope is that it levels out. And I think towards the end of the year there, I think you saw the offense really trending in the direction that we all knew it was capable of.
Okay, thank you, and have a good summer.
Thank you, you too.
Up next, we have Shannon Irish.
Hi, Duncan. You mentioned some of the hurdles that you guys had to overcome this year. When you look back and you think about it, what are some of the things that you're most proud of that you guys were able to accomplish this year?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, particularly with that start, the short break because of the long run last year, and our Jimmy missing as much time as he did, due to protocols and whatnot. Just the way that we kind of came together and bounced back off of that. And I think a lot of teams have kind of written us off as maybe probably not even a playoff team at that point. I can't remember exactly what our record was, but we were probably 5-6 games, maybe even more below 500. So to like basically scratch and claw our way back to, first of all, 500 going into All-Star, was definitely an accomplishment. And then, from there, I think the second half of the season, we started to kind of round into form. Obviously, I didn't necessarily see that in the first round series. But I think really in the second half of the season, we were really starting to trend in the right direction.
Thank you.
Next, we go to Joe B with Heat.com.
Hey, Duncan, this is kind of related to Sharon's question, but I just was curious, how proud are you of the individual accomplishments and milestones that you reached this season?
I think probably the one I'm most proud of is just the fact that I played every game. Being reliable and being somebody that, the staff, the organization, my teammates can count on night in and night out. And that's not to mean that I'm always going to make shots or do this or that, but at least that I'm going to, be in position to be in position, I guess, if you will. So the fact that I was always available is something I'm proud of, particularly. And then, the shooting accomplishments kind of are what they are. Try to keep those in perspective as well. Beneficiary of a lot of different things, great teammates, kind of the ever-changing NBA and the way the game's trending. So I would say that the one I'm most proud of is just playing every game.
Next, we go to Cristo Saltas.
Hey, Duncan. Hope you are doing well. What are the takeaways for you on and off the court this season?
Takeaways. I would say from a personal standpoint, in terms of on the court, I feel like there's a lot of areas which I can really improve. And obviously, the league is getting younger and younger. And, I'm 27 years old, but I think for whatever reason, the way the NBA works these days is, 23, 24-year-olds are getting written off as, they've fully developed. I'm a strong believer that my best basketball for sure is still ahead of me. And I really believe that. And I think that I can continue to improve my game and expand on it. And, it starts really in the off season and coming back a different player next year. So my biggest takeaway is that there's a lot of growth still to be made. And that's exciting. But obviously with growth, you got to come work as well. So I'm excited to put in that work, the challenges that come with it. And just continuing to build from an individual standpoint, and then also, continue to grow and help teams win.
All right, and we'll bring back Tim Reynolds.
Dunk, you're talking about growth. Obviously I hate to use the term brand, it's so overused, but you've become so much of a known entity these couple of seasons. How much have you enjoyed the branching out into the storytelling, into the podcast genre? How much have you enjoyed having that voice?
I really enjoyed it, honestly, and I didn't fully anticipate. I'm a relatively quiet, kept to myself guy, but I do enjoy connecting with people and kind of bridging that gap. And for a long time, people had always kind of encouraged me to be more vocal and share my story and do this and that. And traditional kind of social media felt, for me personally, and maybe it's not this way for everybody, felt a little always kind of disingenuous. So to have a platform, a long form kind of microphone, no pun intended, to the public to share my story, but also shine light on other stories that I feel are inspiring, and just kind of develop a connection with a fan base or a community. And I've really enjoyed it, honestly. I really have. And this year, as crazy as it's been with all the protocols and everything, there's been a lot of time spent in hotel rooms, apartments, inside, looking at the same four walls. So it's allowed me to challenge myself in a different venue and just kind of, have something off the court that's occupied. Not so much my time, because not all that much time really goes into it, truthfully, maybe, an hour or two a week, but mostly just kind of like my mind, which I've enjoyed.
Is it here to stay?
We'll see. I'm going to run out. We got to do like 20 more episodes for sure. So we'll run through some through the off season, do some different content stuff, and we'll see from there.
Thanks, Duncan.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Duncan. Yep, that's it. Thank you.
Hope everybody